Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're here to discuss all of the elements of PvP in Vanilla WoW. Well, maybe perhaps not all of them, but specifically the battleground system, the introduction of the honor system, and cross-realm battlegrounds as a possibility. And on my background monitor there I've of course got the Grand Marshal armor from Vanilla WoW because it is the coolest thing in the world, and I will never have it because I don't like peeing in bottles. Or at least I've not really tried it very much. I might like peeing in bottles, but I don't really want to find out. And as far as I've been able to tell, that's the only way to actually get Grand Marshal is to pee in quite a few bottles. So maybe that's a thing to do on stream in Classic when it releases, but until then, we'll get on with the video. So to start with, in the most recent Classic cast at the time of recording, S-Fan, Stay Safe, and Tips, and I think Mr. GM was on there too. Mr. GM's a really nice guy, by the way. He's talked to me on Discord and I always feel like, oh, he's noticed me. It's really nice. But they were discussing the possibility of the honor system of Vanilla World of Warcraft being instituted from the very beginning of the server, and in Blizzard's version, and whether or not that would be a good idea. Now, I think it is likely that Blizzard probably will introduce that system from the get-go, mostly because PvP players are going to want the honor, they want the incentive there, and I don't know, I just have a feeling they're probably going to add it because I think, well, you know, it's just the core part of WoW, you know, PvP, you get honor, that sort of thing, you know, you get titles in vanilla and then you can get gear. Oh, hang on a second, you can get gear from it though. So that will inherently change how the itemization and progression works in the game. You know, rank 14 armor is really good, so if we add that in the beginning of the game, it's going to trivialize a lot of things. Yeah, maybe people won't get the rank 14 armor, not that quickly anyway, but they'll certainly get the lower tiers, and I think it's about 6 months into the game in the original version, when it was actually released, when it was retail, that they released the honor system. And for those 6 months, if we were to give even the lowest tiers of armor, it's going to influence how all itemization works in the game in a very negative way, I think. It will trivialize some things, and it definitely goes against the ethos of no changes. So for that reason, actually, maybe Blizzard won't do it. I don't know, I'm 50-50 on that. I can definitely see them doing both, but if stronger heads, if cooler heads prevail at Blizzard, which actually from the recent postings, I think we're onto a good one in terms of no changes. I don't think they'll introduce the honor system, at least at the very beginning. Maybe they'll wait for Dire Maul to come out or something like that, but I think we won't get it at release, which is a good thing, because with the honor system also came battlegrounds. And though I love battlegrounds, I actually wouldn't be upset if they weren't introduced into Vanilla WoW. I know, shoot me. I'm just gonna say it. I don't care if battlegrounds aren't in the game. Obviously they will be. Obviously they will be, and it's great. I do enjoy battlegrounds. Arathi Basin is really good fun. Alterac Valley is obviously famous. I mean, I'm looking forward to the long-term battles. In the original, like in the Nostalrius server, there were really big long battles for a while, and then it sort of tapered off and they weren't really the same. I think adding the reinforcement cap is something I'd be really against. I'm up for there being week-long battles in Alterac Valley. That's exactly what I want out of it. I think that's what's good about it, because let's be honest, it isn't balanced. The Alliance have got significant just geographical advantages over the Horde, so unless they were going to fix that, which would just open another can of worms and cockroaches and all sorts of bad things, if we start changing the geography of the Alterac Valley map, people are going to get mad. So let's not do that, and obviously Warsong Gulch is a classic. Capture the Flag is wonderful, and thankfully we won't have demon hunters around in this version of the game just to completely trivialize it. Which, if you haven't seen the videos of demon hunters jumping through the tunnels and all of that in Warsong Gulch, do take a look, it's ridiculous. Also on the topic of battlegrounds, I talk on this in a video I either have already released or will release soon, that I've already recorded at the time of recording this, where I talk about future expansion content in WoW in terms of classic WoW. You know, they might do stuff after Naxxramas. I would actually be in favour of them adding battlegrounds after, you know, the normal battlegrounds, adding, I think it's the Ashara Basin one that they were working on, certainly something, Ashara something they were working on there, with big dragon statues. There's some cool pictures of it around, but they never got around to finishing it. I certainly would be up for them adding extra battlegrounds into the game. Maybe people will be angry at me for that. I don't really see what differences it would make. Obviously, yes, the reputation rewards might affect itemization, but to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, you don't even need to add any items, any rewards for doing it. I think it would just be a fun little thing. Maybe do it a few years down the line. Maybe by the time that this actually becomes relevant, so maybe by the time Nax is released, they could do one of those PvP brawls that Blizzard has in the normal version, the retail version of the game, where they have the Taran Mill South Shore thing, because potentially, and this is something that people have said a lot, when Battlegrounds are released, it really does kill the world PvP scene because there isn't as much of a need for it. So maybe that would be a nice nod to the world PvPers. However, like I said, I wouldn't be sad if I didn't see any Battlegrounds at all, because I think world PvP in vanilla is one of the best things about the game. It is really scary. You're questing around it, if you're on a PvP server, which you should be, by the way, because it's clearly the best way to play WoW. You're questing around in some, the Barrens or something, some low-level contested zone. You think, oh crap, there's an ally over there. Oh, there's a horde over there, and oh gosh, I'm going to get a bit closer to him, and there's a bit of game theory going on. It's like tit for tat. Is he going to go towards me, or am I going to go towards him? Should I get the jump on him? Should I just initiate, or are we just going to like glide across each other and not get into any confrontation? All of these interesting, split-second decision-making things, and there's a lot of fear and angst and tension and release, which is really fun gameplay, which, if you play on a normal server, a PvE server, you don't get that. You missed that out, and it's really sad. So that particular element of world PvP is one of the things I think really makes vanilla shine, because sure, you have that in retail WoW, but nowadays you hardly really see anyone questing because everyone's at the level cap already. And if they're not, then they can just buy the version of the game that's most recent and get almost to the level cap instantly, for good reason, obviously. Hopefully with the war mode release, that will be reintroduced to the game a little bit. Hopefully with the addition of the war mode system, that will actually encourage more of this world PvP, but recently in retail it's been significantly lacking, and so the game has suffered as a result. Now this brings me on to the idea of cross-realm battlegrounds. I discussed this with one of my viewers in the Discord channel, which by the way is linked below, please come and join the fun. And he was saying that he is obviously very, very against cross-realm battlegrounds, though actually it is technically no changes to implement this, because it was in the original version of WoW in vanilla. Maybe right towards the end. I'm hazy on exactly when that was introduced, but it definitely was there, or was very early BC if not. And I am against it too, although I understand why it might happen. The problem is Blizzard need to be really careful about server balance, which I think is going to be almost impossible for them to do, because how are they really going to know how many players they're going to have? They're probably going to make a lot of servers with about 3 to 5k pop is what most people are assuming, and they'll fill them all up very quickly to begin with, but then inevitably those numbers will taper off, at least to begin with. We're going to have a big spike of people playing, and then it'll dip down when people realize, oh, this is hard, oh, this is time consuming, and then slowly I think it'll creep up again. I think it was Nixium that had this prediction, and I'm very much in line with Nixium on basically everything he said about Classic WoW. I think he's spot on the money, he's a good guy, and I'd love to talk to him. So once those numbers fall really quite precipitously, I think there's going to be a really big impetus for Blizzard to introduce cross-realm battlegrounds, because there'll be quite long queue times. And until that population crawls back up again, I see the argument. However, instead of that, perhaps you could have it so that you can incentivize people to queue up for the system, and it might take half an hour, so they go off and world PvP in that time, or something like that. Or if they're made to queue up at the instance portals, say for Arathi Basin, if you're in Arathi Highlands, maybe there could be some kind of world event that encourages people to, whilst they were at the NPC by the portal and they sign up for the instance queue and it's like half an hour, oh shit, they actually have quite a close area that's almost designated for world PvP. Maybe there's some kind of Gurubashi Arena style event to keep people focused, to sharpen their blades, as it were. Or instead, people could just choose to make some kind of duelist club. So maybe have say for example in Stormwind, where all the NPCs are to do the battleground queues, maybe that area could be duel permitted. You can flag people for duels and duel each other in that room, just to give PvPers more of an experience that would dissuade them from wanting cross-realm battlegrounds. Because the problem with cross-realm battlegrounds is the problem with name changes, it's the problem with faction changes and race changes, and even the problem with the barbershop. even though I really want a barbershop, because, right, here, story, sidebar, I made a priest on the Northdale server for my guild, you know, I was guild master and all that. I made the guild and then had to ask someone to be temporary guild leader whilst I deleted my character and made a new one, and ran to Ironforge to check with the guild master because I wanted to make sure my guild, my beard didn't cover the guild charter, but I didn't want to have that terrible short dwarf beard. I wanted to get a big long Brady one that still shows a bit of the tabard in the middle, because it's a tough balancing act to strike between a fat beard and also a fat tabard and being visible, you know? So that's important. So I would like a barbershop for that reason, but I understand it's a bad thing for the game, because being able to change your look, being able to change your name and your faction, it gets rid of the permanence of your actions in the game world. So if you're an asshole, if you're a ninja looter, you should suffer the consequences of that. People will remember you and they will treat you as such. But the other side of that equation is that if you're really nice and you make a good name for yourself and you're friendly to people, you can reap the rewards of that positive activity and that good karma, effectively, which is perhaps why Classic WoW is such a good community spirit, perhaps why it's not toxic like so many multiplayer games are. You know, maybe if something like Dota 2 or League of Legends or Overwatch was a little bit more accountable, which obviously, considering the nature of those games, they couldn't be, but because Classic WoW is the way it is and is such permanence for your actions, because you can't change your character without making a new one, which takes an awfully long time, because of that, I think that's why the game is so much less toxic than other multiplayer games. So, in conclusion, I am for them rolling out the honor system in line with the original version of the game, which is I think about 6 months after the launch of WoW, basically for itemization reasons, and also because Battlegrounds will be a great thing for everyone to look forward to. It's going to be a server-wide event and will be lovely. And then by the time Nax rolls around, I would actually love to see the inclusion of other Battlegrounds that perhaps only have cosmetic rewards, but to be honest, I think that's pretty close to no changes, in a way. Maybe the Ashara Basin, because they were trying to get it out, they worked on it, but I would really like to see some more variety of PvP scenarios, purely because it'll help give some longevity to the game. And with cross-realm Battlegrounds, as a flat no from me, I think that's a terrible idea, because when you start getting rid of people's identity and the permanence of their actions, like for example you getting relationships with people on the same side as you in Battlegrounds, and nemesi on the other side, on the Horde for example if you're on Alliance, if you know that one orc that always teabags you in Warsong Gulch, that's a good positive experience in the game world. That's actually, despite the fact that you're getting teabagged, it's better than the anonymity that you might find if you have cross-realm Battlegrounds. So here's some thought. Oh, and maybe as a passing thought, I kind of would accept cross-realm rated Battlegrounds almost as a tournament style thing, maybe as a literal Blizzard run tournament where the top guilds in one server that's not cross-realm, there's maybe some rated Battleground thing going on as a seasonal thing, or maybe once a year every server manages to find the top rated Battleground team in vanilla, and then they're pitted against each other in a cross-realm thing as a way of doing esports in vanilla. I would be really excited to see that, although I can already hear the absolute baying mob of angry no changes people, which, by the way guys, I'm basically no changes, and I'm just throwing ideas out here, see what sticks, but something like that would be really interesting. And if it doesn't have any, you know, rewards in terms of gear or anything like that in the game, I don't see how it really affects it that much. If it's a good way of making the game a little bit more of an esport, you know, broaden the appeal to a younger audience perhaps, it doesn't really change anything. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video guys. Subscribe if you liked it, and like and share it, all that jazz. It really does help if you share the videos, please do. I would very much appreciate it. In the description I've got a link to my Discord, which would be great if you come and join the community. We've got a nice little group forming there, and also got a server on the Discord that's dedicated to the Lights Hope Guild, which are playing on Northdale. Come and join the fun over there. And also I've got a Twitch channel which is linked in the description as well, which I'll be streaming on from the beginning of August. I get back on August the 3rd. If you follow me there, you'll get a notification when I go live, so you won't miss a thing. I'll see you in the next video guys, and stay chim. Bye bye.